Welcome live here on New Canaan Athletics for a little lacrosse showdown on this Tuesday afternoon here at Dunning Stadium, home of the Rams. It's the New Canaan Rams up against the St. Joseph Cadets. The Cadets coming off a brutal loss to Fairfield Ludlow, which they lost 6-2-3, the first time the Cadets had lost to Ludlow since 2021. New Canaan on the other side, 3-0, looking to continue the streak going. This is their first FCAC game in the first game in the FCAC, so looking to start off the season 1-0 in the FCAC, and these are the games you want to win against a team that's on the lower end in that Tier 2 of the FCAC conference, and these games matter a lot for New Canaan, especially considering their upcoming schedule, such a tough schedule with teams like Darien, Wilton, Staples, of the likes, all those Tier 1 teams that could very easily be tough matchups, as well as all the out-of-state matchups. So New Canaan looking to continue their streak. We move to 4-0. St. Joe's, though, the Cadets coming out with a lot of vengeance, have a lot to prove here after a tough loss, and they have an opportunity to really take down one of the better teams in the FCAC in the Rams and prove themselves as kind of in that upper echelon of teams here at Dunning Field. It will be a good one. New Canaan comes off a victory over Glastonbury on Saturday, which they won 14-2. Really wasn't a match. And then on the other end, of course, the Cadets coming off a 6-2-3 loss. A windy day here at Dunning Field. The flag, lots of movement here, so you're going to see really conditions not too awful. Of course, around 50 degrees here, 55 at game time. Wind really playing a factor, though. That flag going, swaying across, as well as all those jerseys of the players. Goalies touch gloves, go to their respective cages in net for New Canaan. Of course, they have two goalies that really are towards the top of the FCAC in game. It'll be Cam Lyden in net, JT O'Neill taking the opening face-off for the Rams.
Opening face-off failed to go in the box. Players in the box. Not clear.
Everyone inside that circle ready to get things going. JT O'Neill starts the day off 1-0 inside that face-off dot. He brings it up, being checked from behind. He's looking to take a shot. He takes a shot. Opening save made by the Cadets. JT O'Neill wins the faceoff, looking for that first goal really early on, but a good save in the cage by number 5, Michael Coletti, who was the FCAC first teamer last year. The Cadets now a chance to set up their offense. Ball's being moved around towards the top. Elijah Restrepo getting a touch. Back over to Archibald. Sean Archibald, one of the 3 senior captains on this Cadet team. FCAC first teamer last year as well. Ball moved around to Wicker. Then Wicker back up top. Archibald looking for some room to work with, being checked aggressively by Will Hayes. Cadets still moving the ball around over to Griner. Griner, he got knocked down inside the crease. Cam Lyden picks up the ball. Here comes the Rams trying to move defense into offense. There's a step-down shot. That shot by Blake Schwartz. The bouncer, New Canaan able to be the first one to that rebound, closest. New Canaan sets up their offense now, 10:33 remaining, a couple minutes into this game. Both goalies with a save apiece. Roeder up top, working with a little bit of room over to Matt Reed, one of the sophomore sensations on this Rams team here this season so far. Of course, the departures, Doster Kroll, Colin Finnegan last year, really left some room for some key guys to step up on this offense. Henry Laddick talked about it earlier this season on that Rams pregame show, where he said, this offense might look a little bit different, but everyone's going to get a touch, as Coletti makes another big stop. Coletti already 2 saves on the day. Cadets will really not able to pick up that ground ball. New Canaan still fighting for it. In the mix was Julian Jaquez. And New Canaan picks up the ball, now setting up their offense. Maddie Reed over to Campese. On the left side. It's Hayes back up top to Campese. Campese shoots. And it looked like it might have hit a stick. Was some sort of deflection. Canaan back down at X. Low inside, beautiful spin move, shoot, and wide of the cage. Coletti looking for the ball, unfortunately. Low had an opportunity back down low at X. Matty Reed looking for that pass on a cutter. Roeder back up top, over to Campese. Campese takes a couple steps. He takes the shot. Another save by Coletti. Coletti says no on Campese. Campese taking the shot from about 20 yards out. See Coletti all the way up, out of the crease, over to Jaquez. And really good defense near that line. Ground ball picked up from the defense. Picked up by Chase Harden, the High Point commit. Laddick along that far side, over to number 23, Owen Roby. See Roeder again working along that right side, laying a body on Jaquez. Back down low to X. Then the pass in front, trying to get the ball to Gray Wildman. Another sophomore who's really took that step up. Wildman had 6 goals in a game earlier this year. He's been feeling it offensively, and that's sort of the kind of guys New Canaan needs to step up if they want a chance in the FCAC this year. It's, you know, the defense isn't going to be the problem. It'll be the offense. A low to high shot by Matty Reed goes high. Ball goes to the Cadets. Long D-to-D pass. Just off the stick, turned over by the Cadets. 7:21 here remaining in this first quarter. No one has put the ball in the back of the net. Coletti with a few saves. Leiden with 1-2 as well, but Coletti really getting comfortable in net here early on. Ball along the top. It was Reed over to Mazabras. Mazabras along that right side, back down low to X low. Then ball being moved around back up top to Wildman. Wildman looking for some room. He's being aggressively checked. Double team towards the top. He's forced to pull it out, move it back down low to X. See Rogan low at X there. And he takes the shot just wide right. Fortunately, Mazabras right next to the ball. Canaan retains possession. Mazabras down low, being guarded by Skiamana. Here is Campese working up top. Gets splits 2 defenders. He takes a shot. Ball gets checked from his stick, then picked up by the Cadets defense. The Cadets defense needing to clear, no real pressure. Long pass attempt up to Mitchell, but turned over, picked up by New Canaan. Campese now. Campese, the midfielder, the Denver commit. He stumbles. Really aggressive defense by the Cadets. We'll see. It's going to be a timeout by Coach Buzzio, I believe. Smart timeout by Buzzio. That'll freeze the clock. Now New Canaan goes to the huddle, really. Campese nowhere to move that ball past the ball, just aggressively checked by a couple Cadet defenders. You're about New Canaan's own 45-yard line. .5:59 remaining in this first quarter. Neither team able to net one so far, but New Canaan's came close a few times. This Cadets defense holding up well. Coletti in between the pipes. You've also got a few really good defenders. Jason Pagano, Caden Mitchell, both senior captains. This defensive unit of the Cadets really only allowed 6 goals against that Fairfield Ludlow team, the offense just couldn't get anything going. Now, when you give up 6 goals, you kind of expect to give yourself a chance to win. You give yourself a chance to win in pretty much every single game you play. Just could not find the back of the net. Ludlow goalie also on fire with 12 saves in that game. Really just goes to show you the strength of the FCX, the strength of lacrosse in the state of Connecticut around here, especially in the FCX. Of course, New Canaan undefeated in the FCX last season, went 5-0, and then fell to Staples in the FCX semis, then Darien in the state semis, both FCX teams who they beat in the regular season. Leaving a sour taste in their mouth, but this New Canaan team looks to come away with some hardware this year, and they've definitely got a decent team to do it. The Cadets too as well, looking to really come away with a big win, as I mentioned here, taking down a team like New Canaan, a Tier 1 team, always so difficult in the FCAC. And long pass up to Pagano, the long stick, long pull. Pagano gives it back to Griner, back up top. To settle things down on the stick of Wicker. Here goes off ball. He's able to get the ball back over to Archibald. Archibald at the 40 along that left side. Near side, just looking for his angle that he wants to take. Looking for maybe some movement from a few other Cadets players in front. See, he's guarded by Hayes. Hayes giving him no room. Really good check. Restrepo back up top. Ball being moved around by the Cadet offense, but you know, if you're looking for a weak link on this New Canaan defense, you may not be able to find it because you got Will Hayes, Denver commit, you got Bryce Lyden, the Michigan commit, Cam Lyden. His brother comes up with a big save, also committed to Michigan, a year younger in that junior class. You've got Braden Roby, the Boston College commit. This New Canaan defense strong, really arguably just as strong as they were last year, even after the key losses. A guy like Dylan Stevens now playing at Syracuse University, as well as Gray Tomasco, who took a PG year at Loomis, but's going to play at Richmond next fall, reclassing. Back into that offensive zone is New Canaan, settling things down and really getting the ball in the back of the net would go a long way for this New Canaan team. Here is Roeder up top along that right side, looking for a pass inside. There's Wildman with the shot. Wide to the left of the post. Really tough angle. Coletti will block off most of the net. Wildman going from right to left with a very slim margin of error. New Canaan back. See Campese looking for the shot. He fires wide right. New Canaan retains possession. You can tell, though, Campese not afraid to shoot. He really likes shooting that ball. Back down low at X. It's Laddick. And this St. Joe's defense holding up strong time and time again. Just denying New Canaan. Long D-to-D pass over on the stick of Pagano. Pagano dumps it off to a shorty. New Canaan settling. The Cadets settling things down once again in the stick of. My apologies, can't entirely see who that number is, but back up top to Archibald. Archibald really acting as that point guard of the St. Joe's offense. Kind of telling people where to go, kind of what he wants. Archibald now, he's got defender on him looking for the shot. That's Hayes. Can just tell Hayes with that stick, long pole, as well as that big frame of his. That's back down low at X. Bounce pass turned over. See, that ball is just going to slide out of bounds. Possession arrow moves to New Canaan. 2:26 remaining in this first quarter, and New Canaan back on offense. Hayes looking for an attackman. He does. Finds it, and then he stays in the attacking zone. Rogan low, back down low at X. Well, his brother Max, really a key piece of this New Canaan offense last season before he went off PG to play another year of hockey. Low back over to Campese, then back up top to Mazabras. Brady Mazabras, then back down low to X. See Low looking around, scrolling around that right side of the crease, back up top. Really a lot of sticks touching the ball, which you may not be used to seeing this New Canaan offense really moving the ball a lot better this year than they did last year. Laddick, the captain, guarded by Scamana. Laddick along that left side looking for the shot, back down low over to Low, who fumbles the pass. Now Low trying to use his body, fight for the ground ball. The Cadets getting aggressive though, they come away with it. That's Parisi. The long pull now looks like he might have been looking for a shot, but of course the lefty not able to get a shot. He dumps it off. Back to this Cadet offense. That's Jaquez along that right side being guarded by Campese. Cadets slowing things down now. Got Restrepo alongside Archibald. Archibald in his normal place in the offense. See Restrepo along that left side, moving down behind the crease. See Leiden communicating with his defense. There's a long shot just over the head of Leiden. Goes out of bounds, but of course the shot, the Cadets retain possession. Back down low at X. That's trying to see that number, but ball being fed back down and around over to number 18, who's not on my roster, unfortunately. A little bit of contact after the play. That'll do it for the first quarter of action. Neither team able to net a goal. 0-0 Cadet fans happy with how that first period played out. Of course, you'd like a goal, but they saw a few opportunities. This New Canaan offense going to have to go back to the drawing board. We'll be back here on New Canaan Athletics in just a moment. Second quarter of action. Second period, or quarter of action, my apologies. Second quarter action here at Dunning Field. Matchup between New Canaan and St. Joe's. The Cadets both ranked in the top 10 for the Game Time preseason poll. Cadets at number 9, New Canaan inside the top 5. Another face-off won by JT O'Neill, the first face-off since that first face-off, of course, because no one has scored. Clean sheet for both goalies. Coletti, Leiden, both putting up impressive first quarters. More Coletti, of course, because he has more saves. Coletti dumps it off over to Lima. Lima, long D-to-D pass over to Mitchell. Caden Mitchell looking like he wanted to shoot. He shot wide left of Leiden. Looking for the long pole. Goal was the captain, Caden Mitchell. On that far side, Cadets now setting up the offense. 0-0. 40 seconds into the second quarter, and of course that first quarter of action really split, really defensive first quarter of action between both of these teams. Elijah Restrepo working up top. He gets a step, takes a shot wide left. Guy closest to the ball is Griner. Back over to Griner. Griner guarded by Bryce Leiden. Good picks at Griner, looking like he wanted to shoot just too far out. Here comes Mitchell, able to stay through. He takes the shot, the bouncer off the ground, and Archibald had an opportunity. Looked like he might have gotten checked towards the back end of the play too as well. The Cadets now lining things up once again. Restrepo along that right side. He feeds it off to his teammate Scally. Working inside are the Cadets. Definitely a few turnovers in that first quarter that limited the Cadets' offense. On that right side, good defense by Sullivan. Shot saved by Leiden off the stick of Restrepo. Leiden quick pass out, trying to get New Canaan back in transition. Here comes that New Canaan Ram offense. Sullivan, the shot wide left of Coletti. And the Cadets now going to get possession back. Coletti, a long pass up. That's a dangerous play. It looked like he got smoked on a hit. Scally just kind of in no man's land. Here comes the Ram. Long pull shot saved by Coletti. And it ends up in the back of the net. Made the initial save, just could not corral it. Ball bounces back, and that'll be Bryce Leiden credited with the first goal on the day. New Canaan now up 1-0. Coletti, you can tell afterwards, just frustrated with himself. Had made the initial save, ball popped free. Took about 2 or 3 bounces and ended up in the back of the net. Now New Canaan up 1-0. Second goal going to be crucial, though. St. Joe's now looking for the answer. It'll be Finn Kilmartin, the face-off dot for the Cadets up against JT O'Neill. JT O'Neill 2-0 against Kilmartin today. Now 3-0, winning all 3 face-offs so far. Canaan back into the offensive set. Laddick, the captain, Henry Laddick, and a lot of crossover between both sports. Laddick, Roby, and Leiden, all captains for that hockey team that made it to the state championship this past season. All 3 captains for the lacrosse team alongside Will Hayes, too, as well. Campese, another shot saved by Coletti. Campese really didn't wind up on that shot, just took the shot and could not get it past Coletti. But Coletti, extremely comfortable in between those pipes today, not just on that far right side of the field, but also on that left side. Long D pass turned over, picked up by the Rams. Saw Laddick knocked down on the hit. Now New Canaan settling things down. Roeder over to Hayes, the long pull, looking for the shot. He takes the bounce shot just over top of that cage, over top of Coletti, out of bounds. Laddick closest to the ball. New Canaan now with possession, 8:15 remaining. Laddick at X, working it around. There's the big shot by Wildman, just high. Back down low at X. Matty Reed working along that far side. That aggressive Cadet defense meeting him right away. Campese with the shot wide left. Looking for the bounce shot. Campese with 4 or 5 shots here today. We said it in that first quarter, but Campese, the Denver commit, one of the stronger attackmen on this New Canaan team, loves shooting that ball. Still looking for his first on the day. Coletti just walking out of the crease to really no pressure until he's pressured by that New Canaan defense to move that ball away. Now just a scrum for the ball. New Canaan comes away with it. Lyden, my apologies, he gets de-twigged. And the long pass now. Lyden comes back out of the cage. Cam Lyden looking for that long pass to a defender. Over to Hayes now. Hayes fighting for the ball after he lost it. Picked up by the Cadets. And here come the Cadets. Really play of transition. Cadets being met by strong defense from Braden Roby. Good smart timeout by head coach Talbot. Talbot electing to really settle things down. 7 minutes remaining in this second quarter. An offensive opportunity for the Cadets after really a minute of just straight back and forth play. No one able to corral the ball, settle things down, and have a kind of succinct and comprehensive offensive possession. So now Talbot elects to call the timeout. We'll be back here on New Canaan Athletics a minute after this short timeout. Coming out of the timeout break, 7 minutes remaining in this second quarter. Rams up 1-0. Coletti wish he could have that goal back. Goal credited to Bryce Lyden. Now Cadets in the offensive set. It's going to be Archibald up top. Once again, just being that point guard for this Cadets offense. They haven't been able to score. Archibald's got a tough matchup with Will Hayes. Archibald working along that right side. He works it inside, and he's de-twigged. Ball goes far out. Possession over to New Canaan. Great defensive play. You saw 3 Rams defenders converge on Archibald once he beat Hayes. Hayes kind of trailing him with the good check. Lyden, long pass over to Sullivan. Now Sullivan settles things down, back over to Laddick, down low to Rowe. Laddick, the Trinity commit, back up top. See ball being moved around. Now Schwartz getting a touch. Mayock out as an option. Schwartz over to Mayock. Mayock along that right side, back down low to X. Now Laddick in behind the cage, working along that far side. Laddick goes up top, stops, works it around, looking for just that swim margin, that short space to shoot the ball. Long pass over to Mayock. Now Mayock doubled towards the top of the zone, looking for a shot. Mayock back down low. This New Canaan offense extremely patient, looking for a good shot opportunity. So credit to the Cadets defense. Wildman over to Mayock, then back down low. This New Canaan team just looking for some space to shoot, but Cadets doing a good job of closing out each and every time. Laddick, close side, he takes the shot. Bouncer goes wide left. Coletti doing a good job covering all bases of the net as well. Laddick with shot possession back to New Canaan, back down low over to Laddick. We'll set pass over to Schwartz from Mayock. Back down low. Low to low. Or low down low, I should say. Mayock still up top. Switches from right to left, then back. Pulls it back out over to Wildman. Wildman looking for some shooting space. He elects to pass it around. Mayock, quick movement, ball movement from this New Canaan team. Cadets fighting now for the ball. Ball's on the ground. And possession over to the Cadets. Probably one of the best defensive sets we've seen all season from this Cadets team. Really strong defense there, just time and time again, closing out, doubling the ball. And then they give the ball right back to the Rams on a turnover. That's been the issue today. Here's Leiden. Leiden looking for his second of the day. He dumps it down low. Coletti inside the crease, picks it up. The ball was poked away from Leiden. We'll see what they're going to call. See Talbot a little bit frustrated. With the refs right now pleading his case. Still along that far sideline, talking really emphatically with his hands to the ref. It looks like there was a flag thrown along that far side. That's why Talbot's frustrated. Frustrated with the flag. We'll see all three referees now conversing in the middle. Cadets fans wanting the ball to stay with the Cadets because if you didn't see the end of the play, Coletti ended up with the ball in his stick. Looks like they're trying to give it back to New Canaan in the offensive zone. .342 remaining. New Canaan up 1-0 over the Cadets. If you like some defensive lacrosse, a low-scoring matchup, then you've got to be liking this game because both defenses came out to play. Defensive course of the Cadets led by, of course, Coletti in between the pipes. Caden Mitchell and Jason Pagano, both captains, really strong against this New Canaan offense. And then the New Canaan defense as well. Leiden, long pole, has a goal here tonight. Hayes doing a really good job defensively. Roby getting aggressive as well. We'll see. It looks like the ref's now talking, and Buzzio still now not happy with the call. Talking with the referees. Ball's being given back to the Cadets. Now Buzzio pleading with the referees. A moment ago it was Talbot talking with the refs, now Buzzio conversing with the three-man officiating crew. Beautiful Tuesday afternoon here at Dunning Field. Sun's out. Looks like it might rain towards the beginning of this game with the overcast. Very windy. The wind hasn't slowed down a bit, but it hasn't picked up either. Very warm in that sun, 55 degrees. Perfect day for some lacrosse. New Canaan on break as well. Possession arrow goes to the Cadets. Here's Coletti walking out pretty far before being pressured by Laddick. The Cadets now moving into the offensive zone. Ball held by Restrepo. He takes the shot. Possession stays with the Cadets. It'll be Greiner closest to the ball now. He won't pick it up instead. See, it'll be Zaccanino. Once again, ball ends up in the stick of Archibald. Archibald working up against his defender, who's now Chase Harden, the high point commit. See, one of the things that this New Canaan defensive corps allows you to do is switch pretty effortlessly with 4 to 5 long pulls that really can hold it down, as well as a goalie in net who you can trust. You know, you can go for those checks, you can be a little bit more aggressive defensively, as well as, of course, you can switch. You don't have to worry so much about each given matchup because you've got 4 to 5 guys who really can stop down the number one option of the opposing team. Ball being held up top by Restrepo. Over to Archibald. Wicker with that blue stick head. He gets the ball poked free by Leiden. Really good trail check by Bryce Leiden. Came back into the offensive zone. Wildman, quick movement over to Laddick. Takes a shot wide right. Coletti trying to win the chase. And they're going to say he did. Coletti wins the chase. Possession back to the Cadets. Long D pass over to the stick of Pagano. Now Pagano looking to give it off. Give it off, then set a pick. 2:05 remaining now. Talbot uses his second timeout, slowing things down. Offensive opportunity for the Cadets. Down only by 1. With 2:05 remaining, we'll see you in a minute on the New Canaan High School Athletics YouTube channel. Coming out of the timeout break, 2:05 remaining. Cadets with possession down by 1. Opportunity to neutralize this game before the end of the first half, which would really be a big momentum boost for this Cadets team coming off a tough loss to the Ludlow Falcons. My apologies, poked free from the stick. Then Leiden gets the ball checked free. Turned over, lots of turnovers here in this first half, not by either specific team, but by both teams combined. Now ball in the stick of Wicker. Wicker moves down low to X along that far side, guarded by Leiden. He dumps it off to Kilmartin. Griner over to Wicker. Wicker up top to Restrepo. Restrepo back over to the point guard. It's Archibald. Archibald along that close side. He makes a good move, takes a shot. Saved by Leiden after the whistle. So Leiden won't be credited with the save, but now New Canaan, just about a minute and change remaining. They're going to have to move quick. Definitely lots of time left to set up something offensively, get a few cuts. Hayes over to Laddick. Now Buzzio issues a timeout, settling things down. Going to draw up a play. Rams up by one, an opportunity to extend the lead 2-2. We'll be back here on New Canaan Athletics after another short timeout break. .7 seconds remaining. Fresh off a timeout, New Canaan able to draw up some sort of play, try to extend this lead 2-2. Going into the break, Campese with a shot. He let it rip just wide. Left and a little bit too elevated. Campese trying to go low too high. Laddick comes off the screen. Laddick being checked from behind, back down low. It's over to Matty Reed. Top to Campese. Campese feeds it off to his teammate. Another shot. It was Roeder this time. Two good shot opportunities. 25.1 seconds remaining. The clock will start once again. Low, down low. When the two-man game over to Laddick. Laddick dumps it off to Roeder. Roeder shot, bouncer just a little bit high, and possession now over to the Cadets. That should, safe to say, probably will do it for offense. A big hit by Campese. Flag goes up in the air. He'll spend some time in the box for that hit. That was a massive collision by Campese. You see a Cadet on his feet, a little bit shaken up now. Gives a little thumbs up to his coach. Looks like he wants to stay out there. And that is Caden Mitchell, the defender. Caden Mitchell going to jog off after the big hit from Campese. Campese will spend the final 5.5 seconds in the box, as well as just over really a minute and 54 seconds to start off if they give him a 2-minute penalty. will be a 2-minute penalty for unnecessary roughness on Campese. The flag flied up in the air. The Cadets an opportunity. It's going to have to be a long shot. So if you're allowed to just follow that ball. 5.5 seconds remain. Archibald far. And he elects just not to shoot it. And that will do it here for the first half of action. Seen one goal between the two teams. It belongs to New Canaan. New Canaan, the Rams up 1-0 over the Cadets. We'll see you for the start of the second half, where the Cadets will start out with the power play.
this shouldn't have been a 2-minute penalty.
Oh, 44.
Yep. It could have been unreleasable, but it shouldn't have been 2 minutes. 1 goal game, first big hit.
Coming out of the break here, New Canaan up 1-0 over the Cadets here at Dunning Field, home of the Rams. The Cadets starting with a 1 minute or a minute and 45-second man up advantage, an opportunity to neutralize this score, and New Canaan looking to make this lead to a new guy in net for the Rams. That's Jack Kroll, who makes 2 big saves to start out, 2 big confident saves. Long pass up to Roby. Roby now working around the shorty around, trying to defend him. Passes it off to Mazabras, then back down low to Laddick. Laddick working around with the long pull on him, now being doubled. Looking for a pass off, just forced to come out. And look for a pass. Laddick along that near side, closest to the camera. Laddick just dumps it down on the ground around, fighting for the ground ball now. A few red jerseys, a few white jerseys. It'll be come away with by New Canaan. It's Wildman on that far side. He's doubled. Beautiful spin move, retains the ball. Another spin move working along that left side. He tries to shovel it in. Where is that ball? It's on the crease. New Canaan arguing that it was a goal. The officials saying no. Opportunity again. That was a man down advantage. New Canaan able to produce some sort of offense. Now just 15 seconds left for Campese inside the box after that big hit towards the very end of that second quarter. Another save by Jack Kroll. 3 saves on the day just within that first couple of minutes. And Kroll made 2 initial saves when he first came in, and then another now. He's taking it all by himself. He's carrying it through, looking for the goalie goal. He shoots and scores! Jack Kroll, the goalie goal. That's how you make a statement. Now Rams up 2-0. Jack Kroll nets one. The first of his varsity career, not something you see every day. Maybe we'll see this one on Lacrosse Network. Jackson Kroll scores. Someone has to clip that. Jackson Kroll, a goalie goal. You barely see it. You see it infrequently, but Kroll able to just take it all by himself. It looked like really the Cadet defense shocked that he was taking it all the way up and able to shoot and score. JT 4 for 4 in faceoffs today. Now New Canaan back into the offensive set over to Mazabras. Really, everyone just shocked that Kroll was able to net it. You don't see it often, but Jackson's Kroll with the goalie goal. Rams up by 2, 9:05 remaining. Campese out of the box. Ball now over in the stick of Campese along that far side, guarded by Parisi. Gets the screen up high, looking for another shot. He shoots and scores. It's a matter of time before Campese scored. The celebration. Now Rams up 3-0, 2 goals within the first 3.5 minutes of this third quarter. Rams with a more comfortable lead, but still need to keep the offensive momentum going. This Cadet defense looking for an answer. Now Coletti, those were the types of saves he was making in the first half. Just save after save. Those shots from 15, 20 yards out. He will consistently make those saves. Just now needs to settle back in. I think he's got to be shaken up after allowing Kroll to score. Now Campese scores. Just take a moment, take a deep breath. Will help if you can win a face-off too as well. But JT O'Neal wins another face-off. A ball in the stick of Mazza. Now Matty Reed up top, guarded by Jaquez. Over, long pass to Hayes. Now Hayes looking for a shot. He scores! Rips top left corner. A long pole able to make it 4-0 New Canaan. .8:14 remaining, and now just in these first just under 4 minutes, you've seen a goalie goal, you've seen a defender goal. 2 goals today scored from a long pole, one from the stick of Bryce Lyden, the other from the stick of Hayes. And now a timeout by Coach Talbot, and probably the smart decision, has to recoup here. Look at it, it's down by 1, starting this second half now, down by 4. This is the moment where you need to find some offensive momentum. We'll see you back here on New Canaan Athletics in a minute. New Canaan able to mount a 4-goal lead. This match, though, far from over. 8:14 remaining. Saw a goalie goal just a few moments ago off the stick of Jackson Kroll. Then Will Hayes had a long pole goal. JT trying to win that scrum for the ball. The Cadets will come away with it. Coming out of the timeout by Coach Talbot. Coach Talbot, I assume, just settling his team down. Now Archibald carries the ball up top, feeding it over to Restrepo. Restrepo and Archibald. Keep in mind, too, the Cadets started off this half with a man-up advantage. New Canaan scored once on that man-up advantage. Now Restrepo working on his defender, which is Wunderlich. He takes the shot wide left of Kroll. Cadets maintain possession, moving the ball back over to the stick of Archibald right at that 30-yard line. Over to Restrepo. Restrepo working on Wunderlich. Once again, he takes a shot. Good bouncer save by Kroll. Smart shot opportunity. Kroll coming out on fire in this second half. Kroll didn't play any of that first half because, of course, New Canaan has two really strong goalies. Lyden playing the first half, Kroll playing the second. We see that quite often. They're going to be calling a loose ball push. On someone. Ball going back to the Cadets. Could have been a dangerous situation on the turnover by Kroll. He escapes unscathed. New Canaan still up 4-0, 6:55 remaining. Cadets looking for some offensive spark now. Ball once again in the hands of Restrepo. Restrepo working on his defender. Feeds it inside to Archibald. Picked up by Roby. And that's Hayes, my apologies. Hayes looking for his second of the day. Looking for the pass. Able to extend his stick. Dumps it off to Zabras. Zabras guarded by Pagano down low, then rolling around. Ball fed off to Campese. Campese with one on the day. Not afraid to shoot. Has about 5-6 shots today. Able to net one of them. And dumped off to Reed. Maddie Reed guarded by Jaquez. And New Canaan moves the ball around back over to Campese, looking for the screen by Roeder. Deciding whether he wants to go right or left. He decides left. Looking for a shot. He takes low to high shot. Coletti with the big save. Dangerous opportunity. Ball bounced free too. Rebound control so crucial. Long pass up to Pagano. Now Pagano moving into the offensive zone. A long pull feeds it off to his teammate. Archibald again over to Restrepo. Restrepo along that far side, guarded by Sullivan. Restrepo back to Archibald. Archibald over to Wicker. Back over to Restrepo. Restrepo now guarded by Schwartz. Deep in, down low. Restrepo met with some physicality. This New Canaan defense. Same goes for the Cadets, number 18. Back up top to Archibald. Archibald defended by Leahy. Turnover by the Cadets. Ball now in the hands. My apologies. It looked like it went off a New Canaan player, so the Cadets retain possession. 4:15 remaining in this third quarter. New Canaan able to score 3 early on in this third quarter, but since then, no offense cooking for either team. Long shot saved by Kroll off the stick of Wicker. The wind's still a factor, slowing down that ball. Kroll makes another save. Dumps it off to Leiden. Leiden able to get it past that midfield, dump it off to Mazabras. Mazabras sidelined for most of his football season this year with back surgery. Good to see him back and healthy for this lacrosse season. And back up top to Campese. Campese surveying the field, looking, see where all of his different guys are. Dumps it off to Matty Reed, but then receives it right back, orchestrating the offense once again over to Reed. Along that far close side, that near side, Laddick rolling around the cage, rolling around the crease, looking for an opportunity. Dumps it off to Campese. Campese guarded up top, looking for a shot. He takes the shot, bounce shot. Wide left once again. Possession stays with New Canaan. Being ball in the stick of Matty Reed at X. Reed guarded by Jaquez. Rolling around that far side, then the near side. Campese with the shot. Just elevated it a bit too much. High and to the right of Coletti. 2:30 remaining. Roeder far side. Guarded this time by Scamana. Roeder looking for a shot of his own. Dumps it over to Laddick. Laddick to the right, then left. Quick switch of the hands, bounce shot, just not able to find anything. Back up top to Campese, over to Reed. Reed looking to shoot with that left hand, back over to Campese. Campese, big shot inside, beautiful pass, saved by Coletti. Beautiful pass inside by Campese, kind of using what they thought was going to be a shot to make a good pass inside to Mazabras, who just got stuffed by Coletti. Defense fed off, Harden able to move the ball back into the offensive zone. Back up top to Campese, although Campese's shot is deadly. His ability to be a facilitator might be just as deadly for opponents. See, working up top is New Canaan, back down low to X. It's along that far side, Mazabras back up top to Campese. Campese over to Laddick. Laddick working on Jaquez. Jaquez. Laddick to Campese. Campese with a quick spin over to Laddick. He takes the shot wide right. There was some heat coming off of that shot. Laddick let it rip. 51.7 seconds now. Clock ticking down. Another shot by New Canaan off the stick of Coletti. It was Reed trying to go left to right. Not able to find anything. Back up top to Campese, over. Fed to Mayock. Mayock along that left side, back to Campese. Campese looking to shoot once again. And surveying over to Mayock. Mayock comes off the screen. He takes the shot. Bouncer saved by Coletti. Jaquez fighting for the ball inside. A little bit of confusion where the ball was, but Jaquez comes away with it. Now this defense so important to clear this ball past midfield, dump it off. Now the Cadets back in the offensive zone on the stick of Parisi. Parisi, the long pole, takes the shot, saved by Kroll. He throws it all the way down, and that'll do it for this third quarter. But what a third quarter it was. We saw a goalie goal, which you might not see again this season, off the stick of Kroll, and then another defender scoring. That'll be Will Hayes. And Campese adds one. New Canaan up 4-0. Quick break, and we'll see you back here on New Canaan Athletics in just a moment. Coming out of the break, New Canaan able to mount a 4-goal lead after its third quarter, in which they scored 3 early on. Since then, it's been, again, a defensive chess match. Meet in the middle, JT O'Neill looking for another face-off win. He's been superb inside the dot here today, or inside the circle. JT O'Neill wins the face-off. He's going to dump it off to Hayes, then fed far side, just beginning this fourth quarter. New Canaan trying to keep the undefeated season alive, trying to continue to mount wins. Big game today, of course, because it's the first one in the FCAC. The FCAC's so competitive, you have to play your best at any given day. The Cadets know that very well after a tough 6-3 loss to the Falcons. Looking to come away with a big win if they can get some offense going early on. You know, this game could become a game once again. It's still very much a game. Tons of time for this Cadets offense to work. See Matty Reed along that far side, dumps it down low to his teammate in Sullivan. My apologies, that was Reed. Reed up top to Campese, feeds it back to Roeder, back to Campese. Campese up very high right now, orchestrating the offensive set. Looking at New Canaan, of course, they play Wilton on Thursday. Schedule definitely doesn't get any easier. They will be battle tested by the time the playoffs come. Big save by Coletti. Off the shot by Reed. Coletti having a superb game here today too as well. He's got 10 saves. Credit to Mr. Brown for that stat. Little stat guy here inside the booth. But 10 saves on the day. He's doing all he can to give his team a chance to come out on top over this New Canaan team. And Coletti all FCAC Tier 2 last year. So essentially the best goalie in Tier 2 alongside, I believe, Fairfield Ludlow goalie, if I'm not mistaken. Roeder back in the offensive set. Feeds it back to Campese. New Canaan, of course, in no rush, no shot clock in Connecticut high school lacrosse, so really no need to push pace here. You're up by 4, settle things down, look for some good shot opportunities, and look to continue adding goals, but no pressure and no need to ramp up the speed of play right now. Ball being moved around on the stick of Lowe, who you see down low at X quite often, over to Wildman. Wildman working on Jaquez. That right side, dumps it off to Roeder. Or down low, turned over by New Canaan, trying to feed it to Mazabras off the stick of him and picked up by Coletti. Coletti, long pass. Cadets now back in the offensive zone. If you're the Cadets, now you have to start moving. Ball picked up right through by the Boston College commit, Braden Roby. Really smart play. Then Roby almost turns it over. Trying to go long pull to Hayes, picked up by the Cadets. Ball on the turf now, just been moved back down and around. Leiden loses his stick, forced to come off. See here now, New Canaan back in the offensive set. Campese over to Reed. Now Reed working, going close far side, inside pass to Wildman, and he scores. Beautiful pass from Matty Reed to Gray Wildman, the sophomore to sophomore duo. And they score now 5-0 Rams on top of the Cadets. Beautiful ball movement on that play, able to feed the ball inside. The shot by Wildman, and he scores. Again, 5-goal lead for the Rams. JT O'Neal still in the faceoff dot. Really, anyone the Cadets have put in front of him, he's been able to win a faceoff. O'Neal playing really well here today. Really, this entire New Canaan team. From the defense, of course, Kroll with the goalie goal. Defensive front offense having a good day. O'Neal feeds it to Wunderlich. Wunderlich being checked. Good aggressive defense by Parisi. And it looks like they're going to give Buzzio the quick timeout call. The experienced coach, Chip Buzzio. Smart timeout call, 7:57. Rams will retain possession. And they will retain the ball in the offensive zone after this quick timeout. Coming out of the break here on New Canaan Athletics. Rams up 5-2 over the St. Joseph Cadets. It was 1-0 going into the half. New Canaan able to mount 3 early goals in the third quarter. Then up 4-0 and then 1 early here in the fourth. 7:50 remaining. Ball up top to Campese. Probably the most recent goal. One of the better goals on the day. Of course, nothing will beat that goalie goal. But a really good ball movement on the last goal. Low to high shot. Just a little bit wide by Maddie Reed. And New Canaan retains possession. Closest to the ball, 7:30 remaining. Long shot. Looked like stick might have gotten checked, deflecting it. Was Laddick on the shot, high of Coletti. Cadets really feeling that urgency right now. You have to go down by 5. 7:20 remaining. Jaquez guarding Reed, who takes the bounce shot. Once again, New Canaan closest to the ball. 7:12 remaining. Ball fed over to Campese. Campese up top. Campese feeds it off to, that was Roeder, my apologies. Roeder takes the shot. And again, low closest to the ball. Canaan just taking shot after shot. Low over to Reed. Reed now working along that left side, inside to Wildman. Wildman takes the shot. Looked like it was picked up by Low. Low along that far side, guarded this time by Scamana. Low looking for his own shot. He takes the shot, saved by Coletti. Really smart defense by St. Joe's, kind of using Coletti and his skills playing his zone, letting New Canaan take those far shots and having hoping Coletti and Coletti's came out to play over in the double digits for saves right now. Once again, the Cadets have to get some offense going right now. Down 5-0, 6:10 remaining. Ball in the stick of Wicker. Wicker coming downhill. He feeds the ball off, turned over by the Cadets. Once again, ball on the ground, being fought for. New Canaan poking at it, then picked up by, my apologies, Campese. It looked like he was going to pick it up. Instead, over back to the Cadets. Far side, Wicker, close side. He takes the shot and scores. That is 0. Erased from the board. That was Griner who scored for the Cadets. Wicker over to Griner. Erases that 0, down by 4. 5:42 remaining. Rams on top 5-1, but the Cadets have a little bit of offensive momentum and opportunity here to get back into this game. Just scored out All-Stars here with winning that face-off against JT O'Neill. O'Neill, last year, all SEAC state first team, FCAC first team, building those accolades, committed to play at the next level with Colby next year in the spring. Laddick, the captain, now in possession of the ball. Short pass to Roeder. Roeder over to Reed. Maddie Reed. Now another touch. Guarded by Jaquez. Reed from left to right and back down low, feeding it just around. Almost a triangle motion over to Roeder. Roeder guarded by Scamana. Feeds it off to Campese. Campese dodges, spins a few times. Back over, a shot by Roeder, wide left. That ball hit, looked like it hit kind of that little small hill and then maybe hit a car. Far side, that's low, now working it inside. He takes the shot. Ball checked free from his stick. Cadets defense still putting in work. This Cadets defense has been solid all day. Definitely seen a defensive game, just 6 goals combined between the two teams. Ball up top to Campese. Campese splits, going right, trying behind the back. And he can't really get anywhere close. The shot opportunity was there. Now Rogan, low, closest to us. Back up top to Campese. Campese, far side over to Reed. Reed guarded by Jaquez. Reed looking for a shot over to Campese. Campese down and around. Beautiful move, saved by Coletti in front. Ball now in the crease. Coletti, another save. Coletti having himself a day, of course. The Cadets not on top, but Coletti in that double-digit save category with a bunch of just point-blank saves on this New Canaan offense. Coletti keeping his team in the game. Timeout by Coach Talbot. Settle things down, draw up a play. 3:30 remaining. We'll see you in a minute. Just 3.5 minutes remaining in this game. New Canaan on top, 5-1. The Cadets scored just a few moments ago. Ball taken back into the offensive zone. Carried in by Archibald. A long pass saved by Kroll. Kroll hasn't had to make that many saves, so it makes another there. New Canaan trying to get it in the offensive zone once again. See an aggressive check, then the shot. Saved by Coletti. What a game Coletti is having. I know I've said it a few times, but even a shot like that, the step down shot saved by Coletti. Back in the hands of the long poles for St. Joe's. That's a long pass up top, just ball being fought for. Ball out of bounds, 2:37 remaining in this fourth quarter. Cadets with the ball, closest to us. There's going to be a flag that's thrown. The Cadets still with the ball. Now you want to take a shot here early on so you get more time on that man-up advantage. Cadets just going to move the ball around, look for a good shot. They take the shot, saved by Kroll. Whistle is blown. 2:16 remaining. And I believe it'll be Roby who's headed to the box. And it will be, you see, Hayes now arguing with the referee. 2:16 remaining, 30-second penalty for Roby. A man-up advantage for the Cadets, an opportunity to make the lead 3. See, once again, ball in the stick of Archibald. Archibald around 10, now to the 20, back up top to his teammate, then fed over to Restrepo. Shot from the corner, just a little bit high. Ball possession's going to stay with the Cadets. Closest to us, it'll be Archibald taking the ball out, just under 2 minutes remaining. Archibald up top, then over to Restrepo. Restrepo, he takes the shot, saved by Kroll. Looked like Kroll didn't have to move an inch to make that save. Then Kroll over to Leiden. Man-up advantage over for the Cadets. Leiden, long pass. Dangerous pass, just going to be turned over back to the Cadets. Minute 34 remaining. Ball in the hands of the Cadets. Pass over to Coletti. Coletti walks it out. Long pass up. His defender teammate, Caden Mitchell. Mitchell fighting with Hayes for possession of the ball. Mitchell comes away with it, looking inside, then picked up by New Canaan. Leiden turning on the Jets. Michigan commit pass over to Lowe. And Lowe gonna settle things back down low at X. It'll be interesting to see if New Canaan takes another shot or if they just let this clock run down low. Over to Laddick. Ball in the hands of the captain. Now 45 seconds remain. Laddick over to Rowe being guarded by Cadet jersey. My apologies, that's not Lowe, that's Sullivan. Sullivan being guarded by Restrepo now. There's really no need to get rid of this ball. Pass over to Laddick. It looks like New Canaan's going to let this clock run down. New Canaan going to move to 4-0, 1-0 in the FCAC. The Cadets moving to 2-2, my apologies. 3-2 on this season. Everyone going to mob Kroll, who had the goalie goal. That'll be shared on social media platforms. And the Rams will come away with the victory, 5-1. Cadets move to 3-2, or fall to 3-2. New Canaan moves to 4-0. Their next matchup, a tough matchup, up against Wilton Thursday night at Wilton. They can then play Christian Brothers Academy, Staples, Rumson, Fairhaven. So the schedule doesn't get easier for them. As for St. Joe's, the Cadets move on to play Fairfield Ward, then Stanford and Norwalk, and then a big matchup versus Staples on the 29th of April. But that'll be it here on New Canaan Athletics. New Canaan comes out victorious 5-1. We'll see you guys next time.